Welcome back to Captain of Industry Update 4. Today we're in for a treat with some big trains. Look at this one over here. It's going to take all of the food we started to create in the last episode, as well as medicine tier 3, and bring it back to our city. Look at this, so quickly this is being filled, and soon the train is on its way. We're gonna follow it to its destination. And as I said at the end of the last episode, today we're gonna talk about a lot of things about trains. As you can see, I built a pretty big train over here, a kind of a center line. We're gonna talk about, should you have one big train like this or multiple small trains? We're gonna talk about why I chose electricity and many others. So I hope you're excited, and let's dive right in. So first of all, in terms of the center line, as you can see, I went with 4 lines. 2 are directional, in one direction, and 2 in the other direction. At the beginning of the game, having just one bi-directional line is totally enough. But very quickly, as you start having multiple trains on your line, you're gonna see that the bi-directional line, will quickly create a lot of traffic jam, or worse, your trains are gonna be blocked. So you move at that point, to one line in one direction, one line in the other direction next to each other. This is what we had actually over here before. But at some point, that's still going to start creating a lot of traffic jam, or also kind of inefficiency, in the sense that many trains will have to slow down. They'll have to slow down while another train, goes across or whatever. Versus here, you can see this train is going pretty fast, right? More than 100 kilometers almost the whole way. It's only when it arrives now into the station that it needs to slow down slightly to 80, which is pretty good, and then gets more resource in. So this is why I went with 4. And remember, we're not gonna go into all of the details of the trains, but some key information is that if you want, your trains to go fast, you need to avoid having this red or even this yellow when you're turning. And if you want to do that, it's by pressing F to lock, your turn degrees. So if you press F once, you will never have any red, only yellow. And if you press it twice, you will lock it at 30 degrees, which means you will not have any yellow. And at that point, that means your train doesn't even slow down. It just goes fast. So that's pretty important, and that's what we try to do. And there's little, of those big red and yellow. Now, as I said, there's 4 lines, 2 in that direction, 2 in this direction, and we have some crossover between the lines here and there in different places, so that your trains can choose whichever line makes the most sense and avoid, any traffic jam. This is what's really good with trains in Captain of Industry, is they're super smart. We don't need signal or anything like this. You will not have any problem. Why did I choose electricity? Well, frankly, while it takes a small investment, to have all of your line electrified, and if you have line, by the way, that were not electrified, I think they're all right now, you can just click on this button here to upgrade to electrify. But with that, right, I don't need any fueling station for my trains, right? All of my trains will work all the time as long as there's electricity. And also the electric, the electric locomotive is actually, in my opinion, the best one. It goes really fast, at 130 kilometers, versus most of the other ones don't go that that speed. But more importantly, it costs less. It costs really not that much to get us there. If you see on the internet, there's many kind of races between all of those locomotives. You'll see that the electric locomotive always is in the top 5, depending on if you're looking at, straight lines, if you're looking at very short, very long. Basically, it's one of the best one. And again, with this, the key thing is I don't need any fueling station anywhere. That really simplifies a lot the complexity. So I created a big train, right? This is basically a train that is really exactly aligned to these. So if you look over there at, the train I just built is this one. It has 2 flatbed wagon, one for this, for the medical, one for vegetable, then it has 2 of these hopper wagon. This is 1 for the potatoes, 1 for the corn, and then it has 8, 1 for each of these. Because again, you know, those big ones, the tier 2, they're the equivalent of 2 stations. 2 station is the size of one of these big tier 2 wagon. If you want the tier 1, then you would need 2 of them. You don't need to do that, right? You could have more wagons, you know, you could have less wagons. And this is also where we're gonna start talking about, should you have one big train or multiple? Now, the good thing with one big train, especially aligned with this, is it's going to, you know, be from empty to full. It's gonna take one go, right? The train is gonna arrive here, it's gonna stop there. All of the stations are going to deliver into the wagons. They're all going to fill at the same rate. And at some point, they're all going to be full and the train can go, right? So it's kind of the quickest way to fill out a large train like this one. I am gonna show you, you can see it's all empty right now. And it's gonna go, they're all going to fill here, fill, and they're all gonna be filled at the same time. So there is no wait time, you know, where you're just doing one more wagon or anything like this. And then it goes and it's going to do the same here, where it's not gonna need to move or anything like this. This is really good, especially right now where all of these things are empty. I'm trying to fill them out. So it's good to have this train. But there are 2 problems with it. The first one is it's a pretty long one, right? Which makes it slightly slower, makes it a bit more of a challenge, you know, in terms of blocking the road for other trains and things like this. That's the first problem, but realistically not really a big problem. The real big problem is that it is not efficient. As soon as this starts being full, it won't be efficient, because this is going to run all the time, but some of them will be full, some of them will be empty. Why do I say that? Well, if we go back to my food market, we can see, for example, potato is a demand of 28 per minute. My tofu is a demand of 9 per minute. So obviously you can imagine that potato will get empty sooner than the tofu. So having one wagon for potatoes and one wagon for tofu means you're gonna transport most of the time the tofu will be full and the potato will be empty, type of thing. So it is kind of more efficient to have different trains based on, you know, the resource. You can have one train for each resource, but then you're almost at the opposite side, where you're gonna start having basically, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 trains just to deliver to this. That's probably not that efficient, right? So what we need to start doing is see which one have a pretty similar, pretty similar consumption, and also, if possible, they're pretty much next to each other, so that it doesn't have to wait too long to deliver. So that's what I'm gonna do. But before I do that, actually, I think we will just duplicate and add a second train to that same line. Let's build it so that you can see. And sorry, I've just put right now the sandbox mode so that you see it. So here it is. For example, we can see this one is blocked. It's waiting because it doesn't have a path yet. It is blocked by this train here, because there's only one way to do a U-turn in my base right now. So it's waiting for this one to come out. Now it has come out, it can go. So again, this is why big trains are sometimes a challenge, but it is. It's gonna come, it's gonna go, and that way I'll also be able to show you why I've put 2 stations. That way I can have 2 trains at the same time, right, inside the station. In terms of the line, by the way, this is how it works. You have, you add a stop like this, but then you click on this button here to add another station to the same group. In this case, this guy. What that means is that a train will either choose this one or that one. It doesn't matter. It's like they count as one. And it's the same over here, but they both count as one, and the train will just take whichever one makes the most sense. Okay, that is... Why is that one blocked? Oh, yeah, okay. That is not great. I need to fix that. It waited so long. But again, this is why having long trains can be a problem when you have those exclusion zone and things like this. So anyway, let me just create a couple of smaller trains and show you what the difference is. So it is, I have now 3 trains. You can see we have over here, it's going too fast for me to click on it. The first train is going to be focused on the third part here. The bread, snacks, sausage, etc. They all have pretty similar consumption, and you know, they are all next to each other. So put them, it's easy for a train to just take it all, right? Then we're gonna have this train here that's focusing on the 3 before. They again have very similar kind of consumption, around 30 each right now for my city. And as you can see, that means again, very quick for all of them to be, you know, done together. These are now trains that are a lot smaller, so there's a lot less problems. This train is a bit particular, you're gonna see it in a second, because it actually has only the first 2 that have pretty high. We're talking about 50-ish in terms of consumption, and this is why there is 2 of these for each, right? There's 2 medicals and 2 vegetables. So this is kind of the second, you know, slightly more advanced way to look at this, where we're starting to have multiple trains slightly dedicated. The idea is this one is transporting more every time, or you could have also more of this train versus the others because you have a consumption that is slightly higher. By being smaller also, they're going faster, and they're reaching the 130 kilometers per hour. It is, so you can see it's delivering now the second one. Now this is actually full, so this is why you see this is full now. It is. Most of them are almost full now, right? So we're getting there for all of them. So that's a lot of reserves, right? We're talking about 50 months of reserves just in this, and then there's tons more over here. Now this is not the most advanced way to do trains, because for each of them what I've done is, you know, it's kind of each train is dedicated to certain resources. The more advanced way to do it is sectors, or whatever that called. What is that called? Networks, not sectors, networks. So with the network, you will basically have a couple of trains dedicated to a network, and they will go whenever something is needed. But for me, you know, this is not really like, I think I don't need a network for this. I think those 3 trains are exactly what I need. I will start to add things like wait until you're full and things like this, but it's just 3 trains, it's not that far. I think it's gonna be perfect. We will use networking. Oh wait, we are low on food, on chicken food. Okay, I mean, we have been delivering so much that I think that has put some strains on the system, and this is why there is no animal feed being created, but I'll try to make sure we have enough. And as soon as, you know, kind of this is here full, I think it's gonna be different, because again, maybe to re-explain is, right now I'm delivering all of my corn and all of the potatoes to try to make this full, and so there is no corn and potatoes going into this production over here to make animal feed. That's the only problem, but as soon as this is full, I think we'll be fine, so I'm not too worried. So networks we will use, don't worry, but I think this is a lot more, for example, in this part of the map that we'll look at in probably the next episode. This is where we'll use a lot more networks, because you can have, you know, just basic, what they're called, like long trains to transport all resource like we have right now over here. These can all be the same, right? That have a lot of hopper wagons, like a lot of trains with long hopper wagons, and they can transport iron, copper, whatever it is, depending on what's needed. This is where I think it's gonna be a lot more useful. But here is our first train linked to, you know, the farm over here. This I think will make that we can transport a lot more food, we can increase our population by a lot, so I'm not worried. Now a couple of other small things for the train, obviously make sure that you're putting unload over here and load on the other side. You have over here the network rules that I mentioned before, so this is basically when should you send another train, but right now we're talking about a line, right? This is what we're doing. You have also those things here, but they are not that important for my thing right now, because I'm not really putting limits yet, but we will, you know, basically, let me explain, is right now, this has a storage of, what is it, 240. We have 2 of them, right? So if you look there, it says for each of the resource, 480 is the number. But actually for bread, it says 6,000 because we've linked it also to that, right? So the idea is you want to link to all of those things. I don't know why this one it says it's not working, but basically you want to link to all of those things so that you count this, the real storage of, you know, this whole station, and that gives you a better idea of how much resources are here, and therefore you can put also some limits to when are we going to send the right train. When you want to not send a train right away, you go into your train line and you can add over here some depart condition. You can say, for example, well, wait to be full of product. If you're not full of product, you're not gonna go. All right, full of all, for example. Same here, you know, it should be basically the same. Here you can say depart when you've emptied everything. If you haven't emptied, stay there, right? Or depart after a certain time, right? There is obviously priorities too for the trains. We can add, as we said, some other station, and you can add other stops. Like we can say, oh, go over here into this waiting station. This is, I've called it waiting station. So this waiting station, you know, we can tell them just go there when you really need to go, right? So that's something that's also possible. I'm gonna take it out because right now I don't want to do it. I'm also gonna take that out for now. But yeah, this is the trains. Now, I think what's really interesting in capital industry is you can really do a lot with trains, and at the same time, it is really easy. So it's both super hard and super easy. You don't have to take care of all of the signals and things like this, but you also have a lot, you know, of ways to manage. So for example, right now, again, like this guy is basically full. So I'm wasting resource by sending it full back and forth, versus this guy is actually pretty still empty, still getting resources in. So that's why it was great to separate them into different ones. Train station, ladies and gents, don't hesitate to tell me in the comments below if you have other questions. I'm not saying I'm the perfect expert, but hopefully you can see kind of the difference between some of the first station we've done really right at the start. This one over here, that first was with diesel, right? We had the diesel station over here. Then we started having a bit this loop, but still pretty much a one-way kind of thing with just a loop here. And now we are much more advanced with really ways for trains to do U-turns, to change between those lines and all those type of things. So I hope you enjoyed that one. I'm gonna jump slightly into the future when you know, the food has stabilized. Basically this is full and this becomes full too, so we don't have our problem here of feeding our chicken, and then we can move forward. Thank you for watching, smash like button, and I hope to see you next time.